Welcome back once again for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. Let's get right into this. This weekend has been very exciting already so far with crypto. Bitcoin did some exciting things on a Friday. We saw that close up above. Let's go to the daily for this. We saw that close up above that $102,000 level, $102,500 level. There we saw that close up above it. We even came back to back test it today, and we are holding up above it. Now, that means that we are very likely looking at a move back up to the all-time high to test that area, okay? We got a cross up on the MACD on the daily for Bitcoin, and it is separating there nicely. You can see probably pretty small on the screen, but you can see it there separating up. We got a green dot on the BX trender there. We've got the stochastics pointing straight up. Everything is basically looking like it wants to continue to go up from here. So we'll get a good look on that. If we go zoom out on the weekly, zooming out on the weekly, I got the pi cycle top indicator here. So the pi cycle top here is up at 139 on the upper moving average there, but as we know, it tends to, in the end of the cycle here, it tends to, when it gets that peak, it tends to go much higher than that. How much higher did it go than it last time? Let's see here at its highest point here. Let's see, at the highest high, it was 37% above it. So 37% at that point in time. If we had $139,000, we had 37% on that. Let's take a look. 139 times by 1.37. We're looking at $190,000. So this thing could reach up towards that area, and that is an area that we have marked on our chart in the past. Like maybe not that area exactly, but near there somewhere, like 170, 180 was kind of my thoughts here. Now, if we turn on the fib clouds and the moving averages on Bitcoin, we're looking pretty good. All right, we're looking pretty good. If we fail here and we get back beneath 92,000, right? 92,000 really is that level again, 92, 93,000. Then we'd be looking at a double top, and that would come all the way back down to that $70,000 range. That is not off the table. Don't think that that is off the table, but it is becoming more and more unlikely as we get more and more momentum and more tailwinds coming in for us. One last thing before we get into the miners, Solana today. Let's go look at the daily chart on this bad boy. Today, Solana was up like 17% at one point in time. It made a brand new all-time high today of $269. Here we're holding up on this double bottom that it did. As long as we don't go back beneath 218, that's going to hold up, and we could continue to hover around that previous all-time high in the 260s there, and potentially even drive higher from here. So that's pretty exciting for Solana. If we go into the weekly, you can see that we're just kind of grinding up using that 50-week moving average as our base board over and over and over again. And hopefully this time we get that launch and we get to close a candle. If we can close January above the previous all-time high, so if we can close January above $260, we get opened up very easily into the mid 300 levels. So that will be very, very exciting. I think I've got I got a fib retracement on there. So if we can close above 260 in January, we are opened up to $350 going forward. So keep that in mind when thinking about Solana right now. Okay, let's move on to the miners. Okay, so miners are finally starting to wake up. I have way too many drawings on my CleanSpark chart here, but as you can see, this one can go. This one, that one's unnecessary. Okay, I had a falling wedge here. A falling wedge. We came to the bottom of it perfectly, and we broke out of that falling wedge. So this falling wedge is actually done now. So we're going to go ahead and delete that off of here. Okay, falling wedge is done now. This line right here at 1019, that's not really necessary. The $10 line I'm going to keep because that is a key level area here. We did go right up to the 21-week moving average and fell. Above that, we got the 50-week moving average at 1429. That will be a big, major contender that we need to get above. On the daily, we beat a double bottom. It looks like we could be working on that on the weekly as well. But we do need to get up and above 1577. We get up and above 1577 on CleanSpark, we're going to be having a very, very good time here going forward. That means all this downside pressure is finally being released. That will be very exciting. What do we need to see for that? Well, one, we got to get above the 50-week moving average. That is holding us down. You can see on the MACD, we did cross down. We crossed down, but it looks like we might be trying to get out of it, back out of it here. We did print right here. We're trying to get out of it. We did print a green dot on the BX trender. We are getting lime green bars on that one as well. The stochastics are also starting to point the right way. Let me get that to be an actual appropriate size here. These are starting to point the right way. As soon as this turns yellow, I'll be feeling pretty good about that. I think that may happen next week. This is great. This is good, and it bodes well for the warrants. Bodes well for the warrants, which are creating a pretty standard pattern here of going up in a big way, giving back about half of that move, and then continuing to grind higher from there. And as soon as we get up and above this area up here, this 133 level, as soon as we get above this box here, we are going to be very quickly finding ourselves in the $2 range, maybe even $3 range on the warrants. And of course, if you're still looking at how to trade the warrants, they are available only on the legacy brokerages. We're talking about Schwab, we're talking about Fidelity, Interactive Brokers, those types of brokerages, not like Robinhood and Webull. They're not going to offer this one, at least not yet. Okay. Let's look at Btdigital for the week. How did Btdigital do? It was up 9.2% for the week. Let's get this nice and zoomed out here. What happened? We came down to the 50-week moving average. We bounced off of that thing twice. So we got the 200-week above us at 410. Once we're trading solidly above that, which we've only done like once in the history of Btdigital, once we're solidly above that and Ethereum is breaking out, Btdigital is going to be hitting the highs, $5, $6, $7 range. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen next week or not. Ethereum's been seeming to be the laggard this cycle. We've been seeing breakouts of things like Solana. We've been seeing breakouts of Dogecoin. Even today we saw breakouts on Bonk. But Ethereum is down 5% today. So Ethereum is kind of suffering a little bit compared to some of its peers here. Even XRP is down while Solana is leading the charge. Sui, I'd like to make an honorable mention there, is also up today, almost 4%. So I think Solana is going to be the standout this cycle. Sui may also be the standout this cycle. Ethereum, I think, will do well, but not nearly as well as those two, I don't think. But I do still think Ethereum's going to do well, and therefore Btdigital will eventually do well in this space as well. Okay, so I'm looking at that. I'm looking at this this kind of rising pattern here. This is a bit of a rising. Well, no, it's not. That's too big to be what I was looking at. Anyways, yeah, we got this trend line here. This white one. As long as we're holding this, I'm in it. As soon as we break it to the downside, I'm kind of done with Btdigital, and we'll find greener pastures. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms has continued to disappoint. It's up 4.35% here. We are underneath all of the moving averages. I have looked at the institutional buying for this one last month, and that was also it was dismal. It was awful. Institutions are still not buying this stock. We don't know when they're going to start again, but they are not doing it now, and I don't know when or if they're going to do it again, because Riot again owns 20% of this company, and why buy Bitfarms when you can own Riot, who owns a fifth of this company as well? There's no point. So there really is. This is getting destroyed. Bitfarms is having a bad time. They really need to find some way to shake Riot off of them, or to provide something that Riot isn't, or just find a way to attract institutional buyers, because retail is not going to pump this thing. Okay, and it's just not happening. So we may see, and we're stuck. So we're stuck in this downward channel right here. So right now I'm looking at that 200-week moving average at 254 and thinking that's the top. Unless something major comes out of this thing, that's the top, and that's $1 move on a very small stock. So I mean, that's still a big move, but we're looking at like almost a 100% move there. I mean, not quite, but close, which is still good, but like I don't see it going above that 200-week moving average anytime soon on this one, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse looking. Moving on to Mara here, they were up last week 11.48%. They almost closed out the week over $20, getting so close, coming right back to that most traded level. You can see we've got the 50, we've got the 200, we've got the 21-week moving average, all converging right here at this 1980 level. I have mentioned this many times that this is the most important level for Mara. Once we're trading above this thing, we're going to hit 30 very, very quickly again, okay? So I have started to front run and purchase some calls on my Mara shares. Of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Simply what I am doing. I am currently, and I have been starting to reaccumulate my Mara calls. I did have a big loss on my Mara calls somewhere around here from December, because December was just one of the most disappointing months we've had in quite a while. and I lost what, like $1,300 or so. It was like a 60% loss on the Mara calls, so I cut those off. Those would have expired on Friday, worthless. So I'm glad I got out of them with at least something. And now I'm starting to reaccumulate those calls again. It is looking like Mara is ready, finally ready to make that move back up to $30 here pretty soon. We'll see. Maybe that'll happen next week, because we know it happens in a week. Look right here, November 18th. We started at $17.74. We went all the way up to $26 that week, almost $27. And then within a few days, we were already back above $30. So we're talking about a move that happens in days for Mara. So I'm thinking maybe next week. If it doesn't happen next week, I'll probably cut those calls because if it doesn't happen for the inauguration, then I think I'm going to be waiting a little longer, maybe till March or maybe till the summer. We'll see. So if it doesn't happen next week, I'll be making a cut on Mara and taking whatever is there, whether it's a loss or a gain. We do have the MACD did cross down a couple weeks ago, and it is starting to flatten out, so that's not great. We don't have a green dot on the BX trender, and the stochastics are kind of pointing sideways, indicative of a sideways choppy market. So we may or may not see that move with Mara, but Mara, it happens fast when it happens. So don't get, like, I'm not married to it. I will sell them if I don't get a good move next week. But that's where I'm starting to take that position on Mara, as it has started to base in this area where it has based 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the past, just in the past, 2 years. So hopefully that's the area it was basing again, and it will turn around from here. Okay, let's take a look at Riot. Let's take a look at Riot. That's Mara. Riot is coming up on the top of this channel again right here. Let me go ahead and extend that a little bit. Let's go ahead and extend it. We're going to go about right there. Okay, and then lock it back down. We're coming right back up on the top of that again. So we are seeing something of a move on Riot that is looking a bit like a really ugly inverted head and shoulders, and also a flag pattern right here. If we can get above this 200-week moving average, we are going to find ourselves right back up at $20. Okay, we're going to find ourselves right back up on $20 on Riot. That's a story far and away from Bit Farms that had been trending down forever, and is still looking like it is starting to trend down. We got a green dot on the BX trender. We're above on the MACD. It's flattening out, but it's looking like it's ready to re-accelerate. We were getting kind of a wispy looking stochastic here, but it is yellow on green, so it is looking like it could drive a little higher. So that's actually looking pretty good for Riot. That's not bad. Let's take a look at Iren. Iren is, it's not the worst, but it's not great. Like, we did get a bit of a cross down there on the MACD. We don't have a green dot on the BX trender, but we do have a green bar, so that is showing hope, like a light at the end of the tunnel here. We are seeing the stochastics starting to curl back up again. That's good. If those stochastics curl back up, we could see a move. Last time they went from purple and pink to yellow and green, we saw a move from $8.55 all the way to $16. Are we going to see that hit that $20 area this time? That is where I'm waiting to sell here. This does still look like a cup and handle. It did go a little bit lower than it should have, and technically may have invalidated that, but it has broken that downtrend now as of last week, and this week it stayed completely disconnected from that trend line. Now, we still went lower than the week before for a little bit this week, but we stayed completely disconnected from this trend line. So that's actually not bad. And we closed above this trend line. So if we can open next week and stay above this trend line, above this red line here, I do think that we have room back up to $16 and beyond. And we could end up seeing that cup and handle move. And we could see a nice significant week coming through for Iren, where we come up, hit my targets, and then I will be saying see a sayonara to Iren for a while and waiting for it to come back down sometime in the in that midsummer June period where things are kind of slow and slumpy. Okay, so that's what's going on with Iren. We're actually looking good. What about Corz? Corz is looking strong, actually. So it's strong, but in a precarious spot. So Corz, you can see that the stochastics are pointing the wrong way. We do have a green dot on the BX trender, but it is still red bars. We are also looking at, I'm going to want some drawings here. We are still looking at a bit of a flag pattern right here. Goes flat, and that could re-accelerate to the downside and come back down as low as $9 here. So that could happen with Corz. Now, how do we know if that's going to happen? We know that's going to happen, like the downside prediction is going to happen if we break this blue line, which is the 21-week exponential moving average at 1376. If we close a candle beneath that and open one beneath it the week after and stay completely disconnected from it to the downside, then we are going all the way down to support. Now, if on the upside we get above this red candle here, right, this red one right here from January 6th on the weekly, we get above that, which is talking about getting above 1565, 1570. We get above that. We close a candle above it. We open a candle above it. We stay above it. We don't touch it again. Then we're running for the highs again. on Corz, and that's all it is. We're in this point of indecision for Corz. It hasn't decided if it's going to go up or down or not. It is creating a bit of a flag where it is, but it is in currently a downtrend. It is holding beneath this trend line, and as long as it's beneath that trend line, it could go either way. If it breaks that trend line, it still needs to get above 1565, and after it does that, then we're going for the highs again. And if it fails there, then it's coming back to test the 21 EMA. If it breaks the 21 EMA, we're going all the way down to $10.9. Okay. That's Corz. Wulf. Wulf's doing a bit of a falling wedge here, but it is trying to break out of that thing. I like that. I like that a lot. We do have stochastics going sideways. We got a green bar and a green dot on the BX trender. The MACD is crossed beneath, but it is flattening out. So we could see some sideways action out of Wulf. It does need to get, so right now, Wulf needs to get above the 200-week moving average. That 200-week moving average is at 691. Okay, above 691, Wulf runs for the high again. Okay. Below that, it still has room to come back to the bottom of this descending wedge, which is all the way down at the 50-week moving average, which is down at 429. So we're going to range between 691 and 429 until we break either of those levels. I'm thinking we'll probably, even if we test 429, we're more likely to break the 691 level at some point in the near future than the 429 level at some point in the near future. Keep that near future keyword. Once we break that 691, we'll run it for the highs, and we'll probably run like an extra 20-30% from that, and see ourselves around like 11, maybe 1150 or so sometime soon here on Wulf if we get some good news out of it, and if it follows some of the trends of crypto. Okay, let's take a look at HUT. How's HUT doing? HUT came down, 21 retracement, bounced off of it. Beautiful, no notes, goodbye. No, it's not looking, it's looking bad. Okay, so it's not looking bad. So look, we got this MACD here. It is starting to point back up again. So like it looked like it wanted to come in contact and go back up. That is a perfect retracement. Nice, beautiful, like that scoop up, retrace to the 21, and then run for the highs again. It looks like this thing wants to run for the highs again. The BX trender is printing a green bar. All we need is a green dot there. We've got the stochastics are looking good here. We got yellow here. It is expanding too, so it turned yellow and is starting to expand again. And now we're just looking for this purple one to turn green. That purple one turns green. We're absolutely going to hit these highs and take these highs out, maybe even hit the mid-30s to maybe even $40. Because if we go over here and we call this thing a flaggish type of pattern, we'd be looking from the bottom of that move, which would be 1197. Let me draw this here. 1197. We get that pullback. We go a little higher. We could be going as high as like, what does that even say? I can't see it. Let's see. Like mid 40s. We could even hit mid 40s on HUT here with this type of price action that we're seeing right now. So as long as we don't lose the 21-week moving average, that is possible. If we lose the 21-week moving average, we'll come right back down and test these previous highs back here, which all lay about $19. Okay, that's HUT. It could go up to 46. It could fall down to 19. That's not a bad risk to reward in my opinion. I don't actually hold any HUT right now, but I may consider doing that soon. Let's take a look at Cifr. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Just my thoughts on what I'm doing based on those thoughts. So Cifr looks exactly like Corz, right? We went up, we came down to the bottom of a channel. We were resting on a point of support here. That point of support in this case is the 50-week moving average at 457. We're being held down by the 21-week moving average that we're slightly above right now. If we can open next week's candle above 533 and not go beneath 533 all week next week, Cifr is confirmed to the upside and will return to the highs soon. Okay, if it cannot do that, if it dips back beneath the 21-week EMA at 533, then we're going to come back down and touch the 50-week moving average again at 457. That's all there is to it for Cifr. It is at that same indecision point as Corz, but has less downside. Like downside, we might come down to 434. Like the downside would be like from where we are, maybe to 434, and like that's probably the lowest we're gonna go before we find a base and go back up again. Whereas Corz has a lot further to fall before finding support because it just went up so much without doing a lot of chop. Like Cifr did. Okay, so Cifr is one of the most beautiful charts. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's one of the most beautiful charts around here in this space, and I'll tell you why. Let's go ahead and close this. It has been in just this excellent channel up the entire time since December 2022. It has been in just this beautiful railroad track move up and down, perfectly predictable over and over again, with one little scare here in September and then all the way back up and then back down again. This is the most predictable, most just picture perfect chart in Bitcoin mining. Okay, Cifr right now is at the lows. Okay, I should buy some Cifr. Honestly, I should buy some Cifr right here. This is an area Cifr will likely return from, and if it doesn't, it'll go just a little bit lower, maybe to 390 at the lowest, and then come rocketing right back up to $8. It has just been predictable, grinding higher and higher and higher, just this slow burn all the way up since December 22. Compare that to something like Mara, compare that to something like Btdr, compare that to even CleanSpark, and those charts are hot garbage by comparison to this. This is slowly grinding its way all the way back up here to this level back here at that 984. And if it can crest above 984, you better believe that it's coming for 15 bucks. Okay. So this thing could 3x from here, to be honest. It could. It really could. And I really like this chart. This is a beautiful chart for Cifr, and this is one that you should burn into your brain, as this is a good chart. This is a good, consistent money-making machine right here when you see a chart like this. Okay. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say about Cifr. Beautiful chart. Let's take a look at HIVE. HIVE is still down in the dumps. Yep, HIVE is on its lows though. It can't really go much lower than this. This has been an area that HIVE has accumulated several times. Look at this. This exact area. Once, twice. I mean, it fell from there 3 times to go back down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is the 11th time it's down at this level since 2022. All right, this is an area HIVE likes to accumulate. Now, it likes to come up to this yellow line and fail again, or halfway to that yellow line and fail again, but this is an area you can make money on HIVE, okay? This is an area that money can be made on HIVE. So it will likely come up maybe to 450, potentially, if you're really lucky, up to 528, and then from there it will fail. So you can get like $2. You can get a $2 move on this. If you bought 1,000 shares of HIVE for bought 1,000 shares of HIVE for 3,000, was it $3,200 on Tuesday, and it went up to 520 something, you'd be looking at making $2,000 off of that position. Now that's not great, it's not 100% move, but like that's what you could expect out of HIVE. And then I would 100% be jumping off ship if it hit 520. I'd just leave, because as soon as it hits this yellow line here, that is like a brick wall for HIVE. It keeps dumping off of it. If it breaks out through that, awesome, fantastic. But if it hits that and does not break through it with force, like if it taps it and I can see any wick on that, I would dump it immediately, because it's coming all the way back down to, you guessed it, $3. So that's HIVE. I don't think I will be playing with HIVE, but this is an area it likes to come to and then jump off of. So, and of course, nothing I say is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. You must do your own research and come to your own conclusions about all of these assets. Let's take a look at Soluna. Soluna is kind of hot garbage. This zero to hero play really ended up being a zero, huh? The only upside to this is that insiders have been buying this stock a lot in this area here. Now, it is in an area where if it goes much lower, I don't know, this thing might turn over and go bankrupt if it goes any lower. This is bad where it is, but we did get a green dot on the X-Trender. We do see the stochastic starting to turn around. Take a look at this MACD. This MACD has been so disgustingly fat. It's flat. It's pointing straight down, so that's not good. Yeah, it really needs to break this line right here. It breaks this line, we could come back up to $7, but back up to $7 is really not that big of a deal. I have a very, very small position on this thing. I have like 100 of these just as a lotto sort of thing. So I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just kind of watching it. Yeah, but it's been a complete dumpster fire this whole time. Let's take a look at CAN. How's CAN doing? CAN did a perfect 21 EMA retracement. Now this is the area. This is the area. It's either going to bounce here or it's coming all the way back to down to the bottom of the range at $1. Okay, so it's either going to turn around here and run back up for $3, which is almost a $2 gain, right? No, it's a $1.20 gain. No, sorry, that's a different line. I have too many lines. Let me turn these off. Ah, that's nice. Okay, a $1 gain, or it's going to fall all the way down to $1. So it's a $1 gain or $1 loss. It's really 1 for 1 right now on CAN in terms of risk. So I probably wouldn't touch it. I'm not gonna lie, I probably wouldn't touch it until it either came to the 50-week moving average at 137 or lower, and then I'd be looking at CAN, because it was just running for $3. It could maybe peak out a little higher, especially since this high right here in December was lower than the high back from the December of the last year. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. That actually scares me a little bit. I don't care for that. I'd have to see it crest this high with some force, and then I'd be looking at it maybe. So maybe turning around and trying to get back up to like 5 or something, but I feel like that's a bit of a risk where it currently is. I'd like to see it lower before I'd be interested. Can is actually just like Cifr, but in the opposite direction. So let me see here. Like you can see it starting from like, I mean, even earlier than that, but this is where it really started getting into that, like that train track down right here, predictably going up and then coming down, going up to the 50, coming down, up to the 50, coming down, up to the 50, a little higher, coming down. And then it stayed down up to a little above the 50, and it's coming down. So this might be the changing point here at $1.35. That might have been the pivot point where it's now going to start stair stepping up higher, but we won't know until it makes a higher high than they did this December. So that's kind of how that technical is playing out for CAN. It's not fantastic. It's not terrible, but it's not fantastic. There are definitely better risk to reward scenarios on the market right now. Let's take a look at Btdr. Ooh, okay. So Btdr is looking like it's not, like, I don't hate this, but I really wish it would have hit the 21 and that it would have done so without the MACD turning over, without the BX trender getting deeper red, without stochastics printing a red dot up there indicating that RSI is high while the stochastics are changing colors to the downside. So Btdr is actually a little concerning right now where it is. I think it may have gone up a little too much and it's going to burn off a little more, probably more so than its peers right now. I could be proven wrong and time will tell, but I think right now I'd be a little nervous looking at this one. I'm looking at the 21. I really want to see it hit that 21 and maybe stay there for a week or two before launching off of it again. Now it could go higher. Like if it takes out this high at 26.17, well then then it's going to go higher. But right now it's just, this is really hard to tell what it's going to do. It's just kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere right now. It didn't retrace to these highs from before. It didn't go back up and above this structure here just to the left of it. It's kind of stuck in this nether zone between 2093 and honestly on a lower end between 2093 and 1370. It's kind of just stuck in this pattern there for now and until it breaks out to either side of that. Let me draw some stuff on that. Let me draw some horizontal lines. So basically it needs to crest above this. It needs to get above this. I'm gonna make these white. This is like the purgatory, I guess. It needs to get out of these two white lines. It's got to get out of either these two red white lines to decide if it's going to make like a big move in either direction. Hopefully it's the upper one, and then it can move higher. But until it does that, yeah, I'm not too interested in Btdr where it currently is. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.